it doesn't happen next year, would you walk away? Like, are you done?
Yeah, I'm walking away.
The one thing that I really feel like Srtty has that's always been a huge help to them is discipline. If you're going to look at how well he lanes consistently and how he figures that out, he really does boil down how he plays the game in the first 10 minutes to, I need to do these things for these things to happen, and his ability to consistently execute that is what has him breaking these LP records.
Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go! Srtty! Oh!
The bot lane, rotate them over there, guarantee that Inspired's able to take that one as Whippo goes in for the trade top side here. Srtty doing a good job getting away from it, but he has the ulti ready to go. There it is, Q3 into the Fate Seal.
Did he see his boat? No, this is literally deja vu! Not again! What the hell have they been feeding Srtty at FlyQuest? Because I gotta get on that meal plan! He is a monster! He is a demon! And he has a quadra kill!
Well, I was really into sport when I was younger. I skied in state and in national qualifiers. I ran track 100 and 200 meter. I also was on our first 15 rugby team and we'd go on tours around Australia. But then there's actually a family that we're very close with, and they had a son. His name was Alex. And I was in his position on the team above him, and his parents would always compare us. And that obviously got under his skin, like even though we were good friends. And he wanted to stop me from scoring a try. And so he coat-hinged me, and I fractured 3 of my vertebrae. And I couldn't walk or run or jump or anything. And the only thing I could do was sit inside and play games. So I played normal games for about a year in the period between I started late season 6, and my friends were always like, because I played my placements and I was bronze 4. They were like, there's no way you're good enough to get out of bronze. And I'm very competitive, so I was like, okay, let's see what I can do. And then within a year, I was rank 1. This was Oceania, so it was a lot easier than NA. A guy, his name is Curtis, he was the head coach for Dire Wars, which was the best team in OS at the time. And he kind of found me out of solo queue and took me under his wing and coached me. And so he helped me go from a D4 negative win rate top laner at the start of season 8 to rank 1 by the end. I think December 24th, I took it from Fudge. I was very toxic back in OS, and I was like, I think everybody here sucks. I think that the region is going to die and I refuse to play here, so I'm going to go to America and I'll try and go pro there, because I'm a dual citizen. But I squandered a lot of time when I was 17 in America. I was playing on a laptop, I didn't have a PC. I had extremely unstable internet. I hit Challenger with a negative win rate, 49% actually. And it was a lot harder of a region than OS was at the time. And the style of League of Legends that I learned on OS to win did not work in North America. I think it was season 9 that I came over in. Season 8 I was rank 1 in Oceania. Hit Challenger and I peaked at rank 3 on the ladder. I also hit Challenger on 4 roles in season 9. Top, jungle, mid and AD carry. I had a lot of issues with depression and anxiety when I was younger. Back then it was definitely very hard for me to rationalize how I was feeling and why I was feeling the way that I did. And I largely used League as an escape, because no matter what I went through in life, the game was always there for me. And that's why I played so much. That's why I was so obsessed with it. Because no matter what, it was always there. So it was always something I could turn to. I came to a conclusion that I really was unhappy with the kind of person that I was and what I was doing. And the only way that I would ever be able to be happy with myself is if I took actions and did things that concretely proved to myself in my mind that I was a good person. Because it was very important to me to feel like I was a good person. And so then I started modeling my behavior off of what I believed to be the right thing to do. And the more I did that, the more I was able to believe in myself and my self-worth increased. And then gradually over time, things just got better. I became more secure, and as a result, I became better at the game because I was no longer dealing with all the toxicity issues, because I finally felt like I was in control. But I would not want to do it any other way, because I'm very happy with the person that I am now. And I wouldn't want to try and take another route and end up as somebody else.
When it comes to solo queue and evaluations, I think sometimes it's like you're hiring for the job and you want to see they got the college degree. So however far they went in solo queue, it's like a higher GPA, you did your homework. And for Srtty's case, he passed that test with flying colors.
So there were 2 different climbs that I did. The first one was right after NACL ended. I had nothing to do, we just won. I felt very unsatisfied with the way that we won in NACL, because it was just a 3-0 20-minute stomps back to back to back. It didn't feel like I actually played real competitive League of Legends or anything was on the line. So I went home, and instead of taking a break, I started playing solo queue. I went on one of my old Challenger accounts from Season 9, and I just stomped every single game. I was sleeping 1 hour a night, queuing 23 hours a day. I was not eating, I was not drinking. This was right after a breakup. And so I had a lot of motivation, and I just kept queuing over and over and over to get away from the thoughts in my head. And I was playing out of my mind, and I won every single game, completely 1v5ing. I went on a 28 game win streak in Grandmaster High Challenger. I just kept doing what I knew worked, and it kept working. And then I hit 1 KLP with 78 wins and 7 losses, which was a 92% win rate. But then some really bad things happened in my personal life, like immediately as that happened. And then my win rate started to tank. I wasn't able to focus, I wasn't able to play properly. I would stream like 9 hours a day, and then when I got off stream, I'd end up like going to the bathroom and vomiting from anxiety, basically. I wasn't able to focus at all, and I wasn't able to hit rank 1 that split, despite getting that like insane climb. And then after a month went by and the split changed, I ended rank 3 on the ladder, which was the highest ranked top laner. I queued on that same account again, and that's when I got rank 1 about 2 weeks later. So that split, I broke the world record for the highest win rate to Challenger ever, and the highest win rate to 1K ever in the history of the game. And obviously that got me a lot of attention, and people were like, wow, this guy just won an NACL, and then he did this in solo queue, he must be pretty good. But obviously there are a lot of people who still doubted me. So then I beat the same team that I beat in NACL, in CLO finals, Maryville, the current first place team in NACL, with 4 different players, a completely different roster that ended like 6th in regular season. And we went and beat the team that went 2nd behind my FlyQuest roster. So I was hoping that that would dispel some of the concerns that people had, but unfortunately, it seems like no matter what you do inside of, I mean, maybe esports or any walk of life, there are always going to be people who will try and find things to nitpick. And I actually get a lot of motivation from that, because it seems like no matter what I do, it's never enough, and because of that, I'm able to hold myself to a higher standard and keep trying to do more.
After 2022, Srtty had an opportunity to go play with Evil Genius's challengers. This team, they were struggling. They were not able to find leads on the map, but Srtty joins, and all of a sudden they become a top 2 team, and Srtty was being considered one of, if not the best top laners in the league.
People were like, oh wait, this guy's actually probably the best top laner in the league. I was, by the way. But yeah, I was playing really well. We did internals with EG. I soloed over Revenge in the most common meta matchup in the game, level 2. And EG had interest in me playing in their playoffs match versus Team Liquid. But my contract was not in the GCD, and so Riot wouldn't let me play. And then after that, they were like, okay, we probably want to use you as our top laner going into 2024. I had a verbal agreement with them, and I knew basically all off-season that I was very likely I was going to play for EG. And then the night before we were about to sign contracts, they left the league. 6 figures vanished in front of my eyes. And I was like, okay, what's next? It really sucks that I didn't get to play, but I think that I'm going to have a much better debut now that I've spent this time on FlyQuest than I would have back then, so maybe it's a blessing in disguise. I hope to win NACL. Again, of course. It would be great if I won back-to-back splits on top of winning CLO and breaking like 3 different solo queue records. That would be sick. I mean, that's a pretty good resume for any LCS team going into 2025, you know? And ultimately, that's the goal. My goal is to be an LCS player because I believe that I am one of the only Western players who will come out in the next few years who is going to be able to compete with the Eastern top laners. Also beat King the night before we won World Finals, 12 hours before, just saying. Randomly at like 9 PM one night, I got hit up and they were like, hey, do you want to scrim DRX? They were playing in World Finals in 12 hours and I was like, I mean, sure. I was eating in my room back in my apartment. I sprinted to the office. I played 2 matches versus him. I played Yone into his Gragas and then Camille into his Jax because he was trying to replicate matchups that he would play versus us. I actually did really well. That made me believe in myself a lot as a player. I think I had like a 6K gold lead in the first game versus them. And then they did Korean team fighting things and we all died instantly and I was like, oh wow, okay, these guys are kind of good. And then game 2, I managed to solo kill him as Camille into his Jax, which is like a notoriously bad matchup for Camille. And then he was somehow in the right place at every single moment for the rest of the game and it felt like he had map hacks on and we couldn't win. And that was the single most impressive thing I've ever seen a player do. Because he was better than me at the game, but he was better in a way that was completely different to how I played. It wasn't because his mechanics were super insane, although he was very good. It wasn't because his laning was the best. It was because he understood his job and where he had to be at all times, and he fulfilled his role like flawlessly. And that is the kind of player I want to be.
I don't really know what else Srtty needs to do to make LCS. It almost is a question of, you know, when is the right scenario going to come for him? because when it comes to all the achievements that he's been able to accomplish, there is nothing more that he can do.
I'm definitely in the crossroads because I want to believe in my own individual ability. I want to believe that if I perform well enough individually, nothing else will matter and I will not be denied a chance. I want to believe that even in an ecosystem like North America, if you are good enough, you will get a chance. And I want to be able to prove that not just for myself, but for everybody else who's trying to come up in NA. If I can't promote with everything that I've done, what hope is there for anyone else? If I do not get an LCS offer for 2025, I'm going to go to school at UCI. I am going to complete my degree. And I'm probably going to stream a lot because I have a very big fan base on Twitch now. I could easily go the full-time streaming route. But in my heart, that isn't what I want to do. Now, if I'm forced to do that, it's okay, it's not the end of the world. But I would like to at least get one game in LCS because there are a lot of players that I verse in NACL right now who have had many games in LCS, and these guys are terrible. If they can play it, I definitely can. I have two options right now, I'm in a very fortunate position. But I think if I had to choose between the two, I would choose League because it is what I am passionate about. It's what I have used to cope with every issue I've had throughout my entire adult and adolescent life. And I really want to be able to continue that journey. It's very important to me. A lot of people think that I have a big ego, and I don't disagree. But at the same time, I think that people need to be able to distinguish between ego and confidence. And I think I've done enough at this point that what I say can be backed up. And it's no longer ego. It's no confidence.